Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright. So, getting out the house, man, it is cold out here. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like it's about 60 degrees. And for the West Coast, that's cold, man. But I was racking my brain on little things, nothing big, but I'm like, okay, if I go to the Target, because obviously I gotta go to Target every couple of days. So if I go to the Target in Hollywood, I'm probably gonna bring my backpack. If I bring my backpack, I'm not gonna get bags, like plastic bag, which I'm likely gonna need for this upcoming week to get moving for various different little miscellaneous things that I need to put them in at the end of the week when I switch hotel rooms. So I'm like, all right, let me get somewhere where I can get bags. If I don't get bags, I'm likely gonna need to find space for a bunch of stuff that I obviously don't know if I'm gonna have the space for with the bags that I have, my regular stuff. So it's like, all right, give me an excuse to go to the local Target, because I go to the local Target and I won't use bags. I'm like, wait a minute, just grab bags anywhere you go. So it's just a matter of me not overthinking small stuff, man. It literally is that this morning. But yeah, man, dealing with myself, honestly, physically. I ain't felt all that good, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Them issues that I've been telling y'all about, they have been getting worse over the last several days. And so this morning was no exception. Didn't really have energy. That's another reason why I'm getting out here walking around. And I'm trying to keep myself going physically. You know, I feel I'm the type of person who feels like if I don't feel good and I start the process of sleeping during the daytime, what is the body actually doing when you sleep during the daytime? It's not getting the exercise, it's not getting the requisite amount of air and things of that nature. So if you feel down physically and you lay down physically, you're getting further out of shape, not in better shape. So for me, it's like, let me walk that off. It's just like how I felt in Hollywood about 3 weeks ago. And I was telling y'all, I was feeling like crap, but I walked around until I felt better. And by the time I did, I felt better. Yesterday, around 2 o'clock, I felt so physically out of it that I went to sleep. I just say, man, the only thing my body would allow me to do was rest. So I did that. I woke up and did my hundreds around 5 o'clock. Watched half of that Cat Williams video with Shannon Sharp. Put him on the prayer list. I put that man on the prayer list after watching half of that. So he's the latest person on the prayer list. But no, it was one of those situations where I felt better after doing it. Ate my meal. Of course, I got the bread out of my diet. God, it's cold out here. It is really cold. But all of that just prompted me to feel a lot better. When I went to sleep last night, I felt a lot better. But throughout the day yesterday, no good. Ever since pretty much the first, I've been really more or less sick. Wow, somebody dropped all these bunch of cupcakes, man. But yeah, I ain't been doing too good. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. But at the same time, I've been pushing it just like I am right now. Going out and, you know, doing my workouts and things of that nature, stretching. I ain't slowed down on my physical stuff. It's just my head's a bit lightheaded, you know, iron issues, that kind of thing. And so just trying to force myself to be in better shape, whether I feel good or not. Force myself to be active, whether I feel good or not. Did some art yesterday, did my laundry yesterday as well. And that's when I wasn't feeling all that good while I was doing laundry and art and all that. I wasn't 100% doing none of that. But, you know, it's just one of those situations where it's like, man, mind over matter and understanding what's going to make you feel better. It ain't going to be laying down and getting used to resting every time you don't feel good. That ain't going to get it done. You got to eat well, you got to exercise, you got to work against that. That's what I used to tell my mother when she was dealing with cancer. You got to promote health within your body. If you're going to defeat whatever it is that's going on inside of you that's trying to defeat you, you got to work it. And you can rest, but your body's going to get used to rest. And then when you don't have rest, you're going to start feeling bad, and your body's going to deteriorate from there. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't care what culture tells you, it doesn't work. You got to eat right. You got to exercise. You got to listen to your body when it needs to rest. But don't rest for the sake of rest. Rest after fitness, after stretching, after pushing, in whatever way you're going to do it. Culture within myself. I ain't worried about what everybody else is doing. I don't care what they say. I ain't interested. And most importantly, very much most importantly, you gotta eat right. If you're gonna eat a bunch of bull crap, or if you're gonna deteriorate your body with what you eat, of course you're gonna be working against yourself. Sugars, oils, and stuff like that don't work. If you got something wrong with you, then you got to be doing everything right to overcome it. That's basically it. So that's how I'm looking at myself. Something's wrong, but it ain't gonna be how I operate. That's gonna be right. And so you see me out here moving, and hopefully we can make it to February 14th when the doctor's appointment takes place. Because I feel like if I go to a clinic, it ain't gonna help nothing. They may sit down and tell me something's wrong, but they're gonna want to send me to a real doctor, and that appointment's set up. So in the meantime, I just got to keep on doing what I do and work against it, man. I'm still doing my push-ups. You know what I mean? Added 2 more to my regimen. Well, 1 more actually. I had gotten down to do 82 now. Every time I do my push-ups, it's 82 flat. Every time. I do that about 8-9 times a day now. 7-8 times a day. So it's like the fitness is gonna stay. I don't give a damn what they say is wrong or if anything's wrong or not. There's certain things that I'm working into the equation I'm only adding to. My suitcase squats, 5 sets of 90, I added to that. I had worked my way up very slowly. Different various weights because you never quite know what the weight is. Just got to put enough in there to feel resistance. But it's 5 sets of 90 as of 2 days ago. So I'm adding. I'm not subtracting just because I've been feeling sick. It's been, none of that. We keep pushing forward. And so that's really how I'm looking at it, man. I don't really care about how I'm feeling or how my mind is. None of that. I don't care about that. I'm just pushing. And, certain things I've been frustrated about, like calling people for housing. I haven't brought myself the confidence to do that for whatever reason. I hate the consequences or not. And I got the paperwork in my bag. I can do it at any moment. But that's one of the little tedious things that I'm like, man, I ain't quite figured out how to win that battle in my mind. But I have figured out how to win the battle against working out and issues not working out and stuff like that. Or getting out, walking down the street like I'm doing right now. I'm winning those battles. We winning those, but there's certain things that require me to sit down and take care of business, call people, answer phone calls, stuff like that. I ain't figured out how to win those battles yet. But we on it though. At either rate, I'm definitely ready to get up out of this hotel. Definitely ready for that. I am very pleased that this room has been better though. I ain't had a whole lot to complain about this room since they fixed the shower. And I was telling y'all the shower, I went from one bad shower to the next because the drain was clogged. He came in and fixed that right away after like the second day. And I've been having pretty solid showers ever since. So ain't been a whole lot to complain about in regards to that. And I'm thankful for that. But, just the same, now that I've gotten used to this room, I got to get up out of there. It ain't too much to complain about the room, though. The bed has been comfortable. Got the requisite amount of privacy that I'll be looking for that I didn't find in the previous room and all that. So this is a much better room for me. One of the better ones I've had. And no bad dreams. I ain't had no spiritual experiences or nothing like that in any of these rooms. In about 3 or 4 rooms. And I was telling you I was having all them dreams, people feeling like they're getting in my bed and all that. Nothing as of late, man. It's almost like everything in that building knows me well enough now to leave me alone, or it's not like they gotta attack me or figure out who I am, and like the building knows me now. Like that's literally the energy that I get from it. The building knows me now. Every spirit there knows me. See me at my best, see me at my worst at this point. So, I'm thankful that I feel comfortable there, but I just can't get comfortable there, if that makes any sense. They don't allow. The spiritual energy there has allowed me to get comfortable. The process of leaving every 3 weeks and coming back and not really knowing if I'm gonna get a room and how much it's gonna cost, can't get comfortable with that. Having to constantly leave and go to no hold, never get comfortable with that. That's always a strain on my brain no matter what. But my spirit is settled at the Studio Lodge Hotel, so I'm very thankful for that aspect of the game. And starting to get back in shape as far as my body's concerned. I remember I was telling you my stomach was starting to get a little flabby. I'm starting to see my definition again. Been hitting those train stations and running up them steps, going to all this walking I've been doing, trying to defy that. I think my body's starting to balance out for the increase in food versus the workouts that I've been maintaining. And then of course taking a week off from my hundreds and then getting back to it last week. Getting it back, man, getting it back. So I knew I wasn't gonna stay out of shape for long. If I'm out of shape, I ain't gonna be out of shape for longer than 5 minutes. I can promise you that. That's just how I move. If the body if I'm losing some definition on something, believe me, the way my habits are right now, I get it back. I get it back. My metabolism's trash, but my resistance to that is good at this point. And that's something I've been working hard on for the last 20 years, basically. So now that I know how to take care of myself in terms of diet, eating better, it's easier to work stuff off when I have to take a break or something like that. And plus the elbow is healed now, you know. So there ain't been no setbacks with the elbow since I started back with my hundreds, and doing the curls has really helped as well. Incorporating curls into my regimen has helped with the elbow as well. So it's just little stuff like that. Finding that balance between what rest and recovery is about versus not getting lazy and allowing yourself too much rest that you have to, you know, then find yourself working your way back from out of shape. So that's what it is, man. It's that balance, trying to take care of my body while literally going through a frustrating thing with it. Really frustrating thing with it. And so that's just what it is, man. We work through. But you know, today I just told myself, let's just make a day out of it. I know I got things to do. I would love to be at the house working on art, but with everything that I need to be purchasing, food stuff, oatmeal, stuff like that, grapes, it's probably best for me to just get out the house, go make a day out of it, come back home, and then see what my creativity does from there. Because it's funny, because I've been uber motivated to do art as of late. I've been wanting to do it more than I've been able to, believe it or not, because of the other things that I have to do with my day. But you know, that's the beauty of being a creative. It comes and goes, your motivation. When I first got to North Hollywood, I didn't have no motivation to do art for like 2-3 months. But over the last 2 weeks, basically it's just come back to me, and now I'm really into it again. And been sharing everything and, you know, keeping my routine going. So as far as that streak that I have with Sketch a Day, that's still going. I ain't missed a day in almost 4 months now. So I almost missed it last night though. I sure did, man. Right before I went to sleep, I was like, did I check? And I realized I hadn't. But, you know, that motivation to keep going is there. So, you know, it's about maintaining, man. It's 2024. I don't know what the year's gonna hold. Obviously, I'm starting the year in this situation. But we're in January, so we know that I will at least have some answer about my SSI at some point in time this month. Some point in time this month, I will know if I've approved or rejected for what it is I need. And God willing, He'll make sure that I'm either strong enough for the rejection or blessed enough for the approval. Whatever the case may be, I just want to make it through this wait. It's been 5 months, 5 long months of this, and I feel like the most important thing for me was to just get through those 5 months. I didn't really know how I would do that for my birthday, but we're here. We're here. I applied on my birthday too. I don't know if I've said that to you guys. I'm pretty sure I probably have, but August 18th was the date I applied for SSI, my 39th birthday. And now, 5 months later, hopefully we'll know what they've decided. So yeah, man, feel all right. Trying to warm myself up by walking a little faster than normal, because it is freezing out this thing, man. It is really cold. I didn't check and see how far we into it we are, what degrees it is, but I can tell you it feels like it's 60, 61, something like that. And for North Hollywood, that is not normal. I'll tell you that right now. for North Hollywood, that's cold. But I've seen all the weather on this side of town. I can tell you, man, walking down this street when it was super raining, it actually was warmer on that day, believe it or not. But hot, 109 degrees. I done seen it all over here. That's the one thing I can say I'm not in love with over here. It's just in a matter of 4 or 5 months, I have seen the weather change in some rather drastic ways, man. Rather drastic. Stuff that you wouldn't see in Hollywood or Lennox. But it is what it is, man. So yeah, just enjoying a good day. I hope everybody's having a good start to their year, man. I encourage everybody to go check out that Cat Williams interview if you're interested in him bashing the heck out of other comedians. But I thought he threw some gems in there too. Some things that he had been through. I thought it was fascinating, his story. And the way that he goes about being unapologetic in the presence of what he feels is a collective of people who don't vibe with him. Don't get along with him, and because of it try to blackball him and stuff like that. But one thing I know is, if you're gonna be somebody who is combative and competitive in nature, and you're gonna be someone who wants to buck the establishment, it's a compounded, disagreeable energy that comes with that. It's like you're not gonna let people live, and you're gonna be competitive in what it is that you do. That makes them feel like you feel you're better than them. And anytime you have something like that going on, you're gonna definitely have people that don't like you, who gonna want you up out of the game regardless. And I think he's got a little bit of that going on, man. Competitive, and unapologetic in his willingness to buck whatever the agreement would be. I think when you say politics of a situation, you bucking that's putting politics, people ain't gonna like that, man. People are not gonna like that. And what it really comes down to is, you gotta know, as some people, they are in place as plants because there is a greater understanding that this thing is this entertainment business is run by people who want a certain agenda, who want the flow of human beings to go a certain way. So it's only natural that, with that being the greater above, I guess you can say, the greater establishment above, once you start getting into conversations about comedy, once you start getting into conversations about sports, if they're going to funnel their will into those places, they got to have their people in place to do their will. So it's almost like a unspoken truth that just about every establishment of entertainment is going to have a cabal, like he said it is. Because if the people behind the curtain are going to control their thing, and they're going to have people sway and vote the way they want them to vote, or pay and do what they want them to do, or have culture move however they want it to move to overall do what it is that they do, which we can clearly see propaganda machine is a real thing, especially in 2024 when you look at what's going on in Israel. Israel's just a little America, and when it comes to their propaganda machine and how their people move, then of course you're going to need people who are going to be aligned with that and be able to funnel that and move it in the direction that you want it to go, if you're that establishment. So you're going to have those, some can get in, some can't, because if you let everybody in, you're going to find yourself in a situation where your stuff is going to get blown up by people who are truth tellers, people who don't understand what it is that you're trying to do, people who are going to, you know what I mean? It's just every music, every bit of entertainment is going to have some type of political system that's going to have a direct connection, a funneling from that entity that wants its way and has the power to sway it a certain way. And so that's just kind of understood. That's kind of why I stay away from entertainment business as a whole, because I want to do my own thing and not be controlled by an energy that believes itself to be a greater good, or a controlling entity that wants to have things controlled its way. Regardless if it's right or wrong, it's not aligned with myself, and I'm a creative. You know what I mean? So that makes it so that I'm automatically going to be a Cat Williams type energy. Now, that doesn't mean I'm as confrontational as Cat, but I'm a creative and I'm going to tell the truth. So that machine would likely not be able to control me, and thus, whatever its greater intentions are, whatever its connected intentions are, it's going to be destroyed by whatever my intentions would be in the circumstance. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not successful, because I truly understand that and don't align with it, because, well, I think it's evil. I think it's a baby killing nightmare of an entity, to be honest with you. I think it's basically the same stuff that we're seeing happening to people. I think it's Israel, basically. If I'm being honest with you, I think the whole thing is Israel. Maybe not literally Israel, but it's the same type of situation. It's the same type of conglomerate. It's the same thing, you know, more or less. They want things to go the way they want it to go. They want people to think and move and pay and pray the way they want them to pray, or not. And once you start being a creative, it's like, okay, are you aligning with our agenda? Because if not, we're going to keep you out. And if you are, then we'll make sure you're successful, so long as you stay in place and do what we want you to do. But see, what I also understand is if they're done with you, they will get rid of you, especially if you're a nefarious type of energy. If you're the type of person that's doing all types of bad stuff, they're gonna have a date for which, hello friend, hello. They're gonna have a date for which they want you to stop doing what it is you do. So I look at people like R. Kelly, yeah, you're that. Look at people like P. Diddy, you're that. They knew you was up to no good. They probably put you in positions to think it was okay to be no good. They enabled you to do all the stuff you did that they're ultimately condemning you for now. You know, and it's not limited to black folks. You can see it with the Epstein Island thing. That's exactly what that was. It was them putting these people in positions to be guilty so they can control them with that guilt. And if you're going to be susceptible to that evil and be lured by that evil, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much money you have, they're going to always be able to hold that over you. And I think that's what's happening to our president right now. I think that's what's happening right now. Whatever nefarious nonsense he's been involved in for the last 50 years, Israel's holding it over his head, no matter if it makes sense or not. He had better align with what they're doing. Regardless if it's a benefit to him or his presidency or not, if he wants to keep them secrets silent, he had better align with what the hell they tell him to do. And he's going to do that all the way to the ground, because those secrets can't be unearthed. That's what I think it is. And so for me, it's like, if I fathom that's what's going on, I'm from Hollywood, and I've been hearing stories like that my whole life. If I fathom that's what's going on, and I understand why it's in place, then I have no interest in getting into it. I might be talented enough to make it very wealthy, but I'm also intelligent enough and creative enough to know to stay away from it with my own independent thinking. And that's essentially what Cat Williams was saying. He said, I believe in a greater God, a God above that establishment, and I'm creative enough to make it rich. So what he did was be so good at what he did that he could get close enough to it so they could show him everything that's basically behind the curtain. It's like, yo, I can relate to that a lot, except for I really haven't put myself in a position to be close to them, to see what's behind the curtain. I don't really need to. It's not the role the Lord put in my heart to have right now. But to stand on the outskirts and just mind my business in spaces where otherwise are unsuccessful, not having all the clout, not having all the attention, and then be able to say everything that I would otherwise want to say if I were to have that attention, and to see how that's not futile. That's how I move. When people say they don't care about attention, they don't care about the numbers, I really don't. I'm not even going after them. I'm just trying to be good at everything I do, as if it's going to be discovered by the masses when it's time. I don't have to worry about the numbers. That's y'all worries. I ain't got to worry about being successful for whom. What is success? What I say it is. What God says it is. Not necessarily what everybody else says it is. A million people will follow me, but if it's the wrong people, swayed by the wrong energy, then they're not going to take to it the way that they're supposed to. So what difference does it make? If that cabal, so to speak, is in control of the masses' minds, and they get a hold of what I'm talking about, and it's too true or too real for what they want, they can receive, then it's the wrong time for the masses to receive me. That's how I look at it. It's like, this ain't the time. I'm the right person for whatever it is I'm doing, but it's the wrong time. So you today may say, yo, success means having a bunch of numbers. I'm telling you, success means having the right stuff already in place to be found at the right time. All of the stuff that I made right now will be found when it needs to be found by the people it needs to be found by, in a time where it'll be received properly. Not today, but when it's time. And I don't have to worry about that. While everybody's chasing numbers, I chase excellence. Within myself, defined by who it is that I know I'm supposed to be serving, which is God. And if he wants me to do things differently, I'll do them differently. And if he's happy with my way of doing things, then he'll blow me up when he's ready. But I get to be nestled in a place where they don't silence me, because either they know that I'm not reaching a lot of people and don't see the wisdom behind stopping somebody just because they're not reaching a bunch of people, or they don't know I'm here, just like a bunch of you don't know I'm here, but will when it's too late. That kind of thing. It's like I don't have to worry about all that. If you really believe in God, you truly believe in God, then you learn to not worry about what the measure of what man thinks is important. You know, when those who were writing the books of the Bible were writing them, do you think they were writing them for that day, or were they writing them for all time? You know what I mean? Like, if they were worried about the numbers of that day and about people who were alive that day, they wouldn't have had the scope on things that they were ultimately able to have to help people for all time with the books that they wrote. Why would I be worried so much about today? Today can't help tomorrow, and every day after today is coming. As for today is to be the past and you can never revisit again. Everybody here today, they're gonna be bones by the time what it is that I'm talking about is needed for the world, likely, or they're gonna be bones by the time the world is ready to receive the truth that I have. Why am I worried about trying to make a bunch of bones happy? Because the cabal, so to speak, tell me that I need to be that in order to be successful? That's their culture. It ain't my culture. Their culture also has it so that I drink beer in the daytime. Like, what? Their culture ain't meant for nothing. When you're a creative, you think outside of that box. You don't need nothing they got for you. You ain't interested in none of their measures. You ain't gonna believe in none of their math. You're not defined by what they say is successful, none of that. And if you happen to align with some of the things that they are with, then cool. Some of it may vibe with you. But you ain't gotta be defined by what they tell you. I need this because what? Because, are you kidding me? That's culture. And why is that culture in place? Because they what? Want things to go a certain way, and they kicking out the real creatives so that they can reinforce what? Whatever it is they want culture to be, so they can do what? Have you pay into whatever it is they want you to pay into. It's just a bunch of fixed nonsense. And if you can't think outside of the box, think outside of it, then you're gonna be stuck within it. You ain't gonna fix nothing within the future for which you're supposed to be affecting with whatever it is you're creating. You ain't creating nothing at all. You just copy and pasting what they want you to do within the parameters they give for you. And guess what they have? A creative somewhere helping them figure all that out. They want to steal from people like us. They don't want us involved in what they do. They want to take what we have and then apply it to something that they do and then say it's them that created what it is that we created. That's how they move. You know, real creatives know better. Real creatives understand that you set the tone for what culture is. They steal from you. And so for me, it's like, all right, well, that's kind of been an unspoken truth in my mind my whole life. And given the fact that I'm an anti-socialite and somebody who's had mental issues with, anxiety and stuff like that, I never wanted to be too close to people any damn way. I didn't need your approval or nothing. If anything, I needed you not to. I needed you to wait. I wanted you away. And so that was a superpower for me in regards to what it is that I do. Because a lot of people who do what I do need to be given attention. I wanted to be left alone while doing it. And so it's really a superpower when you consider it. I don't think too many people who have the wish to reach many have the desire to be left alone. And the means of knowing that you don't have to measure yourself by success of others knowing who you are in order to be successful in what it is that you're attempting to do. You know? Because when it's time, you'll know me. And when it's time, they would have been too late to catch me. It stopped me. Plus, I also know that because it's a living God, he's going to make it so that those who need my videos and who need what it is that I say receive it anyway. I don't have to be on top of that. I don't need them to help them reach them. You know, them as in the cabal, so to speak. I don't need their help in helping my voice reach where it needs to go. God is a living God who's real. He will make sure it goes where it needs to go. So it's like, if I understand all that, then why am I worried so much about what they're talking about? I ain't gotta worry about that. Oh, you need 700,000 followers. Why? Because that's how we pay you. Aha. And that's where it becomes a conversation about what it is I need from them. I don't need nothing from them. Pay. You mean that thing that you control, that you use to control others? No, I don't need that. That's y'all saying I need that. I don't need that. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, but you're not going to live a luxurious life. Okay. And I won't. You know what I mean? It's like, some things are like, okay, if I look over at my brothers who don't have nothing, and I see them stronger than the people who have everything, they can withstand the troubles in their life much more than a lot of these rich folks, then I know the rich folks, in a lot of cases, not all, but in a lot of cases, just aren't strong. They don't have what the poor people have. It just depends on what you're looking at. If everything's taken from a poor person, what do they have? The ability to keep on going. Why? Because they've never not had. They've never been in a situation where they otherwise have had to begin with. So whatever they didn't have was always in place. A rich person lose everything. It's the end of the world. They want to jump off a roof and all types of different stuff. They don't have what makes their lives absolutely comfortable. They're in a space where they're flustered. They need mental health help for that. Like, I don't have my luxury. It's like, bro, none of us have ever had any of that. What are you tripping off of? You can't move forward? Like, no. It's like, bro, you're weak. I'm not strong. If you lose everything, you can't go forward? Like, no. There's a poor person who's stronger than them in a lot of cases. A lot stronger. A whole lot stronger. And that's what it really is. It depends on what you're looking at it. If you are going to allow the bones next to you, who are looking at you with a side eye because you don't have, when they're not creative enough to realize why they want you to have so bad, it's because somebody wanted you to be materialistic instead of to measure the idea of strength being something that is otherwise the ability to let go of what it is that you otherwise would be connected to or attached to or dependent on. I want to be strong enough to let things go. I'm watching people in Gaza lose their whole families and they still saying, I'm standing strong, man. I give my kid to God. I give my life to God. I give everything to God. And I'm still alive, so I'm here to praise God. A rich man ain't strong enough to do that. He got to rig the whole damn game against them people just so he can feel good in his own damn skin. Just so he can feel like his life has some purpose or meaning. And the man lost his whole family. He don't want to kill nobody. He ain't trying to kill 500,000 for the 5 he lost. He's praising God because he know God gave it all to him and he take it back. That's strength. That's the measure of a man. That's the measure of what it is that ultimately you should want. These people telling you to want material can deteriorate. You want strength. Is that in your culture? Are they singing that in your songs? My AP this and my AP is going to be outdated and broken 100 years from now. Why the hell do I need that? I've watched you sell people style that goes out of style. Things that were worth so much yesterday, worth either nothing now or way more because it's old. And I've seen them styles come back around over and over again, only for people to mock and copy one another in regards to those styles, just for the cycle to continue the process. I needed baggy jeans, now I need skinny jeans. Now I need baggy jeans, now I need skinny jeans. Now I need bell bottoms, now I need, like, what are you talking about? Stuff holds no value at all. It's just the agreement amongst people. Big ass red boots at the beginning of last year. Do you see any of them damn red boots right now? Big pink cups that people need right now. Well, they'll tell you what you want. And they'll do it in a satire-like way to make fun of you for continuing to be in that cycle. Don't y'all know y'all being trolled? Keep letting these people control your minds. Control, troll. Can't spell troll without control. Stuff holds no value, man. The things that you really want are the things that allow you to live without everything. Everything. That's strength. If your culture ain't telling you that's what you need, then you got it wrong. And I'm not supposed to be able to think that way because I'm supposed to be too enriched in the culture and too influenced by the left and the right of me and everybody who's looking at me saying you gotta have it, if you don't, you're out of style. I'm looking at all of y'all saying you better follow me right now. Because you're in a cycle that's meant to make you broke and keep you broken. That's all it is. Have you valuing things over life? Have you valuing material over inner peace and strength when you need inner peace and strength? The very foundation of what it is that's around us is not stable because of the people who control it and the evil that they do. If you can't live without what it is you have, you are going to die without it in a lot of cases. And if you don't realize that the only thing you really need is to be strong enough to live through it, then you're going to be amongst the bones. The hip bones. The very stylish and trendy bones around you. Who can't live without their phones, who can't live without their wealth, who can't live without being in style, who need somebody else's approval for their circumstances, who need to be seen doing everything under the sun, who don't even think outside of the box in regards to the things that they're welcoming into their life being horrible for them, so long as they can just be agreed and not look crazy. You know that is a warped culture that would make it so that you would rather look evil than crazy, as we've said before. Seeing people agree with stuff that don't make no kind of sense, selective humanity and all types of stuff, will convince themselves stealing is bad depending on who's doing it. And it ain't defined as stealing if it's us who's doing it, ruining everything for everybody else in the process. Here's a prime example. Court TV, YouTube, black brother, crazy as hell. Told everybody in the court he was nuts. Told everybody in the court that he didn't know he had a problem mentally until 2022. He didn't know he had a mental problem, but everything he had him, he's criminally insane. As in, brain, not in control of himself. Just like every other nut job you ever heard of. The judge looked at him, said a few things that were condescending in nature, proceeded to about to give him all of the time under the sun as if his mind was in control of what he did and he just simply chose to do something wrong because he's an evil guy rather than somebody who's nuts, who just literally told you he's out of his fucking mind. Excuse my language. This pisses me off. And he jumps at her and they don't stop him because the security's terrible. And he gets all over. He could have probably killed her. Thank God he didn't. But the point was, it was her condescending tone and her lack of sensitivity toward this man's mental illness, for which he just told you he had, that ultimately prompted him to jump at her. You think you see anybody in the comment section saying any of that? No. They are talking about this man like he was a person with sound mind who's just a menace to society for having chosen to be a criminal over and over again to no positive reflection upon himself. I guess because he's black and because he jumped at a white lady that he's supposed to be just sane, as opposed to as insane as he told you he was. But when it's a white person doing something that is absolutely and utterly out of their mind, for which mental health is definitely also applied, they won't have a hesitation to use it. Well, he's mentally ill. Of course he's mentally ill. But when it's a black brother, he's just a monster who's making choices. Selective humanity, selective application of what actually makes sense. How about homeboy who walked into a school with a gun in his hand, shot up 8 of his classmates, is crazy as hell. Homeboy who jumped at this lady, the judge, is crazy as hell. How about we apply mental health to people who have it, rather than just saying, you know what, mental health is only something that defines the ability or inability to excuse what it is that I would otherwise accept from certain types of people. And you think people who are logically sound, who have education, would be able to differentiate between when they're doing this and when they're not. But because of the hive mind, because of the cabal-like thinking, because of the supremacy-like thinking, they won't apply that logic to anybody but whom they want to excuse for doing what to whom. This is why my channel exists, because we are not going to be able to allow that to go forward. When I have mental health issues myself as a black person, and I know if I jump at somebody and do something crazy, y'all gonna tell me there ain't nothing wrong with me. But if my skin was fair in this environment, and I happen to do something to somebody that looked like a black person, then they'll say I'm mentally ill. When the brain don't have no color, just deficiencies. Both are mentally ill. Both need to be not judged by those who are ignorant in regards to what mental health is, but need to be cared for by those who are cognizant of what mental health is. Because if a person doesn't have any control over their mind and what it is that their behavior does, then regardless if you want to hold them accountable or not, they're nuts, fam. They don't have any control over it. If they were to have control over it, you wouldn't see the behavior that you're seeing. And you being condescending toward a person like that, disrespectful and insensitive toward a person like that, is not going to prompt them to do anything but attack you, from which is not in control of them. They don't have no control over that. If they had the cognizance to be in control, they would not do what they do. And we see a bunch of people who pride themselves on being intelligent ignore this fact for no other reason than it's agreeable to do so. Because those people are animals. So therefore, we, within our culture of understanding, will not apply the logic of, okay, that person's insane and need care, to them. We'll only apply it to someone that looks like us. In the event they hurt somebody that looks like them, most specific, or being held accountable by everyone for the action of their mental illness, for which none should be held accountable for the action of their mental illness, only cared for by those who understand what mental illness truly is, a deficiency of the brain. It will affect the character. It will affect your cognizance and ability to understand where your boundaries are. It will affect all of those things. It will affect how far you take something. It is an illness. It is a deficiency. Something that is outside of your control. Now, if you can prove someone is within their control, that does not have a deficiency, and then proceeds to make choices, which I can argue is a deficiency in and of itself if they know the consequences of those choices. But if they make choices, then you throw them in a prison where sane people who make horrible choices that affect other people need to go. But if that person literally has some deterioration in their brain that's affecting what it is that they do, then you have to put them somewhere else, because if they were in control, they otherwise wouldn't choose to do it. It's not a reflection of who they are spiritually or mentally. It's a reflection of what's wrong with the brain. You think we'll take that into account? No, because we're too busy huddling around the idea of our agreeables and our culture. And so within our culture, those people are animals, so they couldn't be insane. They just need to be locked away in cages to protect all of us from them. Meanwhile, we will agree to do everything under the sun to them. Make it make sense. You will not. And Israel just further puts a magnifying glass on the idea of how that comes about. Years and years and years of propaganda. Years and years and years of brainwashing. Years and years and years of agreeable bones to the left and to the right of you saying, yeah, this is what it is. Agreeable bones. I'm not confused by this. And now that I see what's going on in Israel, it just helps me understand further what it is that they've been doing to America the whole time. That's just a smaller, more condensed, and more or less controlled version of this. And you got a whole country of people who can't understand that they're selectively choosing who's human and who's not, who's sick and who's not. It's disgusting, and none of y'all can think outside of this. But it's understandable because they've done an effective job on your brains. and I'm a creative. So I look at that and I say, they've done an effective job on the brains. Not I need to hurry up and follow that because the agreeable bones gonna look at me like I'm crazy. They can look at whatever the hell they want. And eventually they deteriorate and die just like the rest of us. We got to do what we can with our time, man. We can't just sit around worry about what everybody else is doing and not doing, this, that, the third. It doesn't matter. Propaganda machine wants you to think it matters. It don't matter. So that's really what it comes down to, man. Somebody needs to say something about that. I didn't agree with what homie did. I also don't think he agreed with what he did. He's nuts. That's the point. If he was in his right mind, if his decision maker was working properly, he wouldn't have did it. How come that's something they can't see within him when he got up there and told everybody that very thing? That's exactly what he told the whole courtroom. That I'm mentally ill, been mentally ill since 2022, and can't control what it is that I'm doing, and need grace of the court. That's what he said. You think they would look at it that way? No. Why? Agreeables, culture. What we gonna do here is look at certain people like they have mental illness and other people like they're animals. And in those agreeables, we will determine who is worthy of being seen as mentally ill and who's not. I'm sorry, but that's not how mental illness works. Either you got a problem with your brain or you don't. Either your brain is dysfunction in some way based on trauma, physical trauma, head injuries or whatever, birth defects or whatever, or it ain't. You don't get to look at somebody's skin and say, yo, he's an animal, and look at somebody else's skin and say, yo, he's mentally ill, to justify or not justify what somebody else is doing. Yeah, mental illness is mental illness, bro. Either there's a problem with the brain or it's not. So that's pretty much what I'm saying to you, man. I'm where I need to be. My name is BDF 44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.